Hey everybody, how's it going?
I'm waiting to see if there we are.
I had to make a funny face.
You did have to make a funny face?
I felt the need to
Oh,
make
I
a
didn't
funny
see
face.
your funny face. Do your funny face again.
I don't know. It's not funny face. It's just I'm looking.
Need to mute my stream. Oh, you did that face.
Yeah, just that face.
No, a half Popeye face.
Half Popeye face. Yeah.
Half Popeye, not full Popeye.
You know what they say is you never go full Popeye, or else you can never get it back. I've come real close before.
You've gone pretty full Popeye.
Yeah,
for sure.
Oh yeah, I'm back. I'm back.
You are. Yeah, that's right.
Seemed like I missed a good stream last week.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't believe that I actually finished the game. Finished Bucky O'Hare.
Yeah, that is a tough game.
It was tough. I mean, but you know what's interesting is it's very forgiving on the checkpoints. Like,
oh, okay.
It's extremely forgiving. Like every screen transition, there is a checkpoint forever. Like even if you continue, the only downside is you do lose like the maximum health that you've built up. If you continue, but so it was forgiving in that way, but it was tough. But yeah, I actually finished it like just before midnight. So
that's impressive. I mean, I think when I did a video on it a long time ago, like it was like before Treasure, like I had I had the save state through, but I didn't really have enough time to get good at it or like play it for real. Like I just knew that I wanted to get the video done.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Now I was kind of like holding out hope that tonight's stream would be me playing GoldenEye HD.
I know you were pretty confident.
I was like convinced. I was convinced that it was going to be like, GoldenEye 007, HD or remastered or whatever the heck they're going to call it, available now.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
Game Pass. I was like, I was so sure I was going to be playing GoldenEye tonight, but nope.
We get X-Men instead.
Man, I was like, after we got off the group call watching watching that conference, I was just like so sleepy for like 2 hours.
Well, I mean, there's barely anything of
I was just
to be excited
so
about.
Sleepy.
I think. I don't know. Like, I think that we were both like kind of like pretty ambivalent.
There was a lot of multiplayer stuff.
Yeah, and just like a lot of like I'm just
and a lot of like it was so funny to hear Phil Spencer saying like this gameplay focused event, and it's like, dude, no, it wasn't. Not at all. Like there was a decent bit of gameplay of Starfield, but like most of the stuff was like very trailerified. Like not a lot of like CG stuff, like a lot of in-engine stuff, but still like not a lot that was like, here is what the game is like to play.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know. Like the more this is happening, and it happened with the one that we watched on, was it Wednesday? Was the Jeff Con?
Well, the thing with that though, I mean, as funny as it was, just how many like space horror games there were.
That was kind of the big running joke.
The reality is, I probably want to play most of those though.
Really?
Like,
yeah. Well,
single player horror game. I mean, sign me up, right?
Yeah, but like 4 of them at the same time.
It is a bit much. But
so I don't know. Like I'm having a hard time finding anything to get real excited about.
Yeah, I mean it's a little bit of a down time right now, that's for sure.
Yeah. And that's I mean, it is what it is. That's fine. I don't know. It's just there is, I guess it's rumored that there's going to be a Nintendo Direct on the 15th. I think is what I heard.
I don't know.
But I mean, who knows if that's going to happen? But it's going to be like I'll be curious to see what they have to show because I don't know. It seems like they have been showing a lot of things, just like even past Nintendo Directs that are just like more exciting and more interesting to me.
Oh, I mean, Nintendo is almost always the most exciting presentation for me.
Yeah, I see that there's a $9.99 from Alex Hanan saying, "Do you think all the departure from in-person events makes these showcases more trailer-heavy versus gameplay-heavy? I love all the content divulged."
That could be true because they do, usually there is like a moment where like people get on stage and like play a bit of a game. Although a lot of that started to tend towards, instead of like, here, we're going to play a part from the new Uncharted, those kind of started to get to be those like fake multiplayer sessions. I mean, they were playing it for real, but they were doing this really scripted, like, oh, what's going to be in here, guys? This kind of like multiplayer chatter that like, I applaud the idea that they want people to be having that kind of experience in multiplayer, but that's just not reality.
Yeah. That's in their mind.
It did happen that way, but it doesn't.
Yeah. And I think that, I said during the show today, there's just so many like multiplayer games, like, focus, like team shooters and stuff like that. It just seems like so many are coming out that that they're like most of them are not going to succeed.
But because they've those games already, the room people have in their lives for a game like that, they're already focused on another game, or it's going to be a different game that captures them. I don't understand why developers spend their resources on these multiplayer things when it's like no one cares if you're not the big one, And I mean, that's a shame. I'm not saying that's how it should be. It would be great if like all of these things could succeed, but it's just the attitude of the people who play these games just seems to be like, oh, well, you're not this, so I don't care.
Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and get started, but thank you, Alex.
I saw Phenonymous say Plucky Squire was the standout, which I did not see that revealed live. Have you seen anything about that? I learned about this on the DF Direct today, actually.
Oh, I didn't. I heard you talking about that, but I couldn't tell you.
It looks incredible.
Really?
So like the demo starts out where it it opens. It's like this kind of like realistically rendered
my controller
like tabletop, and like a storybook opens, and it's like a hand-drawn storybook, and like text appears on it and stuff, and like you're moving a character around in this storybook, and it looks like really, really well animated. But then they show like the character. Oh, are you?
My controller battery died.
Oh,
I'll be right. I'm just looking for a. I don't know how that happened.
But anyway, so can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I hear you.
So, it looks like, oh, this is cool. Like this, this is taking place in this storybook, and then like the character like actually leaves the storybook and is like on this table with like all this other stuff on the table, and it's like very like kind of lavishly rendered, but like then he can like jump into like pictures that are like on like the side of like a mug on the table, and like there's like this side scrolling part that will be like spinning around the mug. So there's like all of these different things that you can like interact with, and there's like different gameplay inside all of these different objects.
So are you saying that you're looking at it and you were like,
that's good?
I was, but I had not heard of it until I saw the DF Direct today. It looked amazing.
I'll look into it.
Hopefully there'll be a physical of it. I'll tell you, one of my favorite parts of any of these events was Tunic coming to PlayStation 5 because that gave me confidence that that it'll be much more likely to get a physical copy than if it was just locked to Xbox. Because, games that are exclusive to Xbox, of a smaller scale game, physicals are not as common, sadly. And plus, the PS5 version, if you get PS5 physical, there's PS5 code on the disc.
Right. Yeah. That's one of the reasons.
Xbox, it looks like things are getting better in that regard, but you never know. I don't know if Tunic is really that Souls-like, Dustin. Have you played it? Coury and I have a shared account linking thing and we have Game Pass through it, and we tried a bit of it when he was here a few weeks ago, and it was awesome. I thought. Played the first boss. I did not play that far, but I do love Souls stuff. But I didn't think it seemed that Souls-like from what I played, but I love the manual aspect of it though. Like one of the things that's so cool about it to me is
it uses okay, so this has special moves. So you can do a fireball to shoot your lasers. Oh,
is it like a Hadouken?
Yeah.
Pattern? Doesn't seem to use any energy or anything. But I love the manual thing. Apparently, the director of Tunic said that that part of their idea was they wanted to recapture that time in childhood where you would like look at it, but you would only understand like some words. You could see the pictures and you would understand some words and things. That's why there's like a lot of like an unintelligible language on it, but there's also some things that make sense. There's about Kojima's new game being tied directly to the cloud-based processing. Yeah, so obviously when we hear cloud, we think of like cloud streaming, which is extremely constrained. But I have a hard time imagining Kojima would make a game that was only like cloud-based, unless it was like some sort of like video game. You know what I mean? Like a video-based game, which is something I could see him doing. Kind of like what was done, you can't do it anymore, but like what was originally done with like the video cutscenes in Quantum Break.
Oh, yeah, it's like a kind of a show type thing.
Right, but like there used to be like those used to be streamed to you.
Right, but now
like based on what you did, but like I think it's like it's got to be all local now.
Yeah,
like I could see Kojima doing a concept like that maybe, but
sheesh. I don't know if this has on when they continue.
Like, it would definitely be sad for long-term preservation if it's like tied to cloud processing. But I would still almost definitely play a Kojima game, just because you're in for something. You're in for some kind of ride with a Kojima game, for sure.
It just makes me wonder. I wonder how much, like, if he had an idea that Sony didn't go for, and so he asked Microsoft. Like, is he gonna go through everybody? Like, he's just gonna have weird projects. Like, who knows if Death Stranding, like, we both like Death Stranding, but I have no idea how well it did overall.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like,
I wonder if it was worth that.
It's weird because I feel like people generally didn't like it when it was new, but like I don't really hear people who didn't like it talk about it anymore. and people who did like it still talk about it, you know?
Right.
I see the GoldenEye clone game with a level creator at one of the smaller events. No, I did not.
Mm-mm.
That sounds intriguing to me.
I like that he just like has to punch these things. Gee, this is tough.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that same thing, like what Microsoft originally planned to do with Crackdown 3 using like cloud processing for more crazy simulations or something. But I don't think it would be something so straightforward with Kojima. Like he would definitely
I have no idea.
I don't think it would just be for like more complex world rendering or something like that.
So I thought each character had 2 lives, but it doesn't seem to be the case. And it looks like it does not have continues, but it has passwords.
Check out Demon School reveal trailer. I know it's right up your alley.
Demon School?
Okay. Demon School. Let's find out if let's like take a look at Demon School. Wait, that looks like a doesn't look like a game. It looks like Crunchyroll, so it sounds like a show. Which, I mean, I'm not saying I might not enjoy a show, but I was assuming we were talking about a game. We got a notification that James Boone is a new member.
Ah, thank you. Welcome.
Oh, I see you gave up on Cyclops' stage.
Well, I got a game over.
Oh, okay.
And there doesn't seem to be any continues, but I wonder if you get...
I mean, it's a Capcom game. There's got to be passwords or something.
Well, there is passwords.
Okay.
But you just have to put in the password every time. So you probably have unlimited continues, but I wonder if it carries over certain aspects. Like it carries over the amount of lives you have.
$2 from Phenonymous. Kojima's next game, cloud-based VTuber simulator. I cannot see Kojima doing something like that. Definitely not. But you never know what he'll do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'll be interested to see what it is, obviously. But
I mean, there was talk last week, like apparently someone did some reveal and it had like it looked like a horror game, I think, with the lady that played Mama in Death Stranding.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, I should get the director's cut of that.
I want to get that too.
Maybe when it drops in price.
He predicted memes. I mean, I learned what a meme is before internet meme was a thing. You know? Thanks to Kojima.
Right? These guys with the rabbit ears makes me think of the one guy from Appleseed, the anime Appleseed.
What if it wasn't for Kojima? Like, what if we would have a different word for what became memes?
Wait, the what?
Yeah. What if we would have a different? What if Kojima's use of the word meme influenced us to call them memes? Like, what if they'd be something else? Like, you know, just like
right.
Them internet pictures.
All right. You know, the flipping jump animation is really smooth. It makes me think of, obviously, Blanca.
Yeah.
But it looks really smooth.
I mean, it's probably just one frame in like several different positions.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
it's not like using any SNES rotation or anything, but it does look really good.
If I don't do very good, I may have to try it on training if I get another game over here.
Be honest, how many of us pronounce it as meme the first time we saw it in MGS2? Do they say it out loud? Don't they? They say the word meme out loud?
Yeah. I'm sure that at the
time... I mean, like, he's like comparing it to like jeans and stuff too. Yeah. So like meme gene.
Meme gene Okerlund. I like that he just like, he walks on the ceiling. It's like no special animation, but he's like hanging upside down. He's just doing his thing. I want to do. Is anybody who's played this, do you think it's better than the Genesis X-Men game? Because I feel like maybe it's an unpopular opinion, but I think that the Genesis, at least the first one, the Genesis X-Men game is kind of junk.
Oh, I thought there was only one on Genesis, but I thought it was extremely widely considered to be quite bad.
No, there's a second one. It's like the Clone Wars, I think it's called.
But I mean, this is kind of a Shadow Warrior or Ninja Warrior style game, but
it is
by Capcom, so it seems to have potential.
Yeah.
It does seem quite hard though.
Yeah. I'm doing a very good job here. I'm not above putting it on training if I get another game over here.
I wonder if it locks you out like the last level or something.
Maybe. But like this move just like stays airborne the whole time.
When we were on a group call with the Discord, the MLiG Discord, a few MLiG Discord people during the Jeff Con, as people have taken to calling it.
Yeah.
When we were on that, I had not watched the new episode of Obi-Wan yet. And I'm not going to spoil anything. But Henry Clark mentioned, like, he said, oh, there's like a scene in that, yeah, and you'll know it when you see it, that you're just like, oh man, I love OLED. And it was really good. I mean, do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm trying to think about what part it was.
I mean, I'll say this without like spoiling anything story related, unless you consider the fact that lightsabers exist in the show.
Oh yeah.
But there's like this scene where like the lights are out, except for like a small part in the middle, and like you can like faintly see two like stormtroopers on either side of the part that's lit in the middle, and everything else is just black, pure black.
Right.
And then like just like out of the nothingness, like you just see like a full figure with a lightsaber, just like it ignites, and it's just in the blackness.
Yeah.
It's pretty effective. Just like it wouldn't be as effective if it was a tight shot, but the fact that you could see like nothing and then a full figure because it was a wide shot. Like the wide shot made it effective. Dustin Kramer says, I'm getting cold on Obi-Wan. I mean, it's okay. It's the first of the Star Wars Disney Plus things I've watched. I mean, there's definitely a lot of things that I feel like are kind of hard to reconcile with like episode 4.
Yes, that's
like it's like I can definitely believe that Obi-Wan like had one last adventure for, you know, some important circumstances, but there's just like a lot of things. It's like, does it make sense that
no? That's the problem.
These things, it doesn't make sense, really.
Yeah, and that's
I like.
I feel like they gotta do something to make it make more sense by the end.
Yeah, I mean, I like kind of seeing like a tired, out of practice Obi-Wan though. Like, that's interesting. Like, I like seeing him fight with like blasters and stuff. Like, he's pretty dirty. He's like almost kind of fights dirty sometimes. Like, it's you know, that aspect is interesting. But there's a lot of things that are just like, is that the best you could do?
This is tough. This is actually really, really tough.
It does seem tough from the little bit I've played too.
Yeah, I
Wriggle says in the chat here, the hardest way to beat the SNES X-Men is with Psylocke. Her last level is difficult. At least the part with the missile launch is difficult. So wait, is do you like continue down the path of like one character?
Yeah, like once you get
from the start here, like I was assuming like after these 5 levels.
Yeah, I thought
you just like would go into like some Wily stages.
Yeah. Where you could choose any.
Maybe you could choose which character, or maybe you were forced into certain characters. I'm curious how it unfolds after these stages.
Yeah, I really like the first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan, but since then, it's just.
I've actually been surprised how short the episodes are. Like, they're not very long. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. I'm not like in love with it or anything.
Right.
But it's okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Sorry to disappoint y'all.
Was that your first attempt on training?
Yes. No. That was my second attempt on mission mode.
Oh, okay.
So I see you get an extra life here.
Training, that's weird, because if... Like, I wonder what the limitation here is.
I don't know. I will find out.
Let me...
yes, I did finish, I'm caught up on Stranger Things. It's funny because, like, I don't watch a lot of, like, shows, but it seems like all kinds of stuff kind of came out at one time. So, there's Obi-Wan, there was Stranger Things, and then there was Ms. Marvel just started, and The Boys on Amazon, which I have not watched any of yet.
You always claim to not watch a lot of shows, but I think you actually do.
Well,
I feel like
there's certain things that I watch, but there is definite gaps in between the time that I like how often I watch. And like I said, I just prefer the like weekly releases. It's just easier for me to consume. And even with Stranger Things, like we watched that, my wife and I watched that, and we watched like one episode a night. And I could get into that kind of thing where there's like less episodes in a season, but each one is like movie length. I could get into that.
Well, I mean, I don't know. Stranger Things, I think, has a normal number of episodes in the season, though.
This is tough. I'm kind of embarrassed.
So on GameFAQs here, it says the X button is a secondary attack command, although only in training. I wonder if it does like the Hadouken.
Yeah, it attaches like it does like Wolverine's. I guess in the fighting games, that'd be like the Tornado Claw, or as he says Tornado Craw. It sounds like. I haven't seen Top Gun yet. My wife and I had a date night planned where we were going to go see it. And my daughter got sick, so we did not go. I want to see it really bad though. I've heard that it's very, very good. But we were talking about Stranger Things. I really liked this season, or what's happened so far of it. I like. I think I told you that I thought that episode 4 of it was maybe like the best episode of the show.
Mm-hmm.
This come out. I really like it. But I think it's a pleasant surprise that the remaining 2 episodes are like a month away, come out after a month.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's unusual for Netflix to not just release them all at once, though.
Right, but I think that they just had so much, I'm happy they just did the longer episodes.
So this other fact says that training mode gives you 3 lives and allows you to easily use the moves. However, you can only play the first 5 levels if you play on training.
Wow. Okay.
So you might end up getting a little stuck here.
Well, I just want to see what happens.
Oh,
I want to see what happens when I finish.
Live stream some 4-player Wii Music when I'm back in town. Luckily for us, I don't have Wii Music.
I do.
Oh no.
I mean, if this is like the boss of this level already, then that doesn't seem so bad.
Oh, a friend of Henry Clark's had a role in the community meeting in Stranger Things. That's cool.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, okay. So there's... That's not that long of a level, then.
Oh.
Yeah. So does it just...
Okay, well, I mean, this mode might help you figure out how to do the first 5 stages, and then you can be like, oh, okay, I can take this.
Yeah. So I wonder if you do play all of them for individual levels, and then there's a final level.
Well, it looked like there were several other levels, and then... let me bring that back up. It looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more stages plus a final stage for each character.
So 2 stages.
That I guess is unique to that character. Whichever character you play as. I don't know how you make that choice going forward.
Well, this is good. It just lets me get some practice on these.
And then it looks like there's a separate final boss fight.
There are 4 levels at the initial 5. Still playing that house in Fata Morgana.
Oh yeah, making steady progress.
I wouldn't say that it's steady progress. This is really tough. I can't not fall asleep when I play it. Like I fall asleep.
So it's
every
not gotten
time.
to a point where you feel it's picked up.
I got to a point today where I think that it is going to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was real tough getting through those first several stories.
I mean, how far in? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, for people that have played it, I just started door 4. And to give you an idea, like how tough it's been for me to play, I started the game like almost exactly a month ago. So it's, I wonder how much how much time I put into it so far. But I think that people have said that, you know, starting at door 4, and one thing I did notice is that, like, as soon as I finish door 3, it kind of gives you some more options. You know, you can choose where to go.
Mm. You know, I was telling you what I've been playing kind of randomly. A lot of people might think this is a curious use of my time, but I was bitten by the desire to replay a Final Fantasy game. I was capturing some footage of the PS3 version of Final Fantasy X for John's 1080p Dream video. Yeah. Which, like, I was kind of having some fun. I ended up like capturing way more than he needed, because I was just like, I kept playing for several hours. I was just like, I'm just kind of feeling this. But like, I was like, you know, this is like putting me in the mood to like replay a Final Fantasy game, but I don't know if I really want to replay 10 right now. I mean, especially because I've already played 10 once before. And the only ones that I've only played once, not counting Final Fantasy 11 and 14, since those aren't really games that you would think of as like something you replay. Although some people make like alt characters. But 2, 3, 13, and 15 are the only, you know, main numbered ones that I've only played one time. I was like, you know, I think just because like Final Fantasy X like kind of put me in that team's
right
aesthetic, like it kind of put me in the mood to replay 13, which, you know, you and I both are defenders of Final Fantasy.
Oh yeah, and I think that more and more people are coming around on it.
Yeah, it's, you know, hey, it's free on Game Pass. I don't even have to put my disc in the system to play it. You know, so it's very accessible to people right now, and you know, it's dirt cheap anyway. But I mean, I feel like my thoughts on the game are exactly the same as they were, you know, back when it released in 2009, maybe 9 or 10, I want to say.
Yeah.
You know, it is held up very well. You know, at least aesthetically, you know. One thing that one reason I kind of wanted to play 13 was when I was playing 15, I was just like shocked at how bad the analog stick movement feels.
In what? In Final Fantasy?
In 10.
Oh.
Like, it's really janky, especially when like the camera angles change and stuff. Like, I did not remember it feeling so bad. You know, that's, you know, stuff like that is an argument for why tank controls are a thing. You know, because it wouldn't be a problem with tank controls. You know, but you just, it is so janky. Just the way that you move and turn is like you hold your heading when the camera angle changes. It's not great.
What am I missing here?
And I was like, you know, like I feel like I want to play a FF game like this, vaguely of like this, but with better movement controls. And of course, Final Fantasy 13 does have pretty good movement controls, but the camera is a little janky for sure. So Dustin Craig was saying 15 is the only FF I flat out hate, and hate might be a strong word for me on 15, but I don't like it. I do not like it. It's not. I don't think it's
yeah.
Like,
neither of us are big fans of it. 15.
Yeah, I could see myself maybe replaying it someday, just like giving it a shot, but I'm skeptical I would like it any better.
I thought the game. That's interesting.
Pixel Phoenix says, I think FF13 is all right. I enjoy the combat, art direction, and music, which, yeah, I mean, those are the parts that I like too. Like the story and characters they have their moments, their upsides and downsides. But I would say like the scenario is on the weaker side of Final Fantasy to me. But like the combat, I think is great. Like really, really fun. I love like setting up the paradigms and sort of managing what mode you're in throughout combat.
The paradigms.
The paradigms. That's what when like Pilot Wing 64 was by Paradigm Entertainment, and when I first learned that, I was like, oh yeah, the Paradigm, they're a pretty good developer.
I love that.
And like it was the first Final Fantasy to introduce the stagger system, which I think people liked in Final Fantasy VII Remake, right?
Yeah.
I think that adds an interesting level of depth beyond just reducing HP. And, something that I don't remember how I figured this out, or if the game tells you more overtly, like in some of the like the logs somewhere. But I thought the game more clearly explained like how like commandos like stabilize the stagger meter and Ravagers like make it bump up more quickly, but they also like the more you hit with a Ravager, like the faster the meter falls, and you kind of need to use other modes to kind of stop it from falling so fast. And that was like kind of a big aha moment when I first played Final Fantasy 13. I was like, I thought I remembered the game explaining this better. But
are those things extra lives, I wonder?
I don't know if that confused a lot of people, if they didn't understand like really how to stagger back in the day. But I think it's a great game. I feel like each area maybe lasts like just a little too long, not overly so, but just I feel like most areas in the game could stand to be like 10 to 20 minutes shorter, but I'm like 15 hours in, and I think I'm almost to chapter 11, which I think is the long chapter. So I mean, it moves along.
Okay, if you like 3x as an extra life.
The visuals hold up so well though, like especially with the higher resolution on Xbox.
Yeah. It's been a long time though.
Like it just looks so good.
Like that early game
what's
stuff.
Cool is like on the backwards compatible version, they like actually have like high quality. It's not apparently not as good as the PS3 encodes for the FMVs, but it's like they're pretty good. Whereas like the original version was apparently quite poor video compression on Xbox. What's funny is your save file actually says what disc you're on, but it never prompts you to change disc.
Right.
But like, I mean, you know, the lighting and like shadows and stuff, like it's using, and reflections, like they're using much older style techniques, but I kind of like it. Like
I wish it was like a block in this game.
Like I guess is what you would term cube map reflections. Like I sometimes, like when you look at like these older rendering techniques and you see when they were implemented really well, sometimes you like get nostalgic for just like how visually clean it looks. Like when you have like, when everything uses these screen space reflections, like, you know, there's the obvious shortcomings of them where like something, you know, this cut off screen or a character is in front of an object, like the reflection is going to look janky. And like, I kind of feel like the reflections in something like Final Fantasy 13, even though they're like less accurate, like it's not really reflecting what is above it, above the surface. Like there's something almost more artful about it.
Yeah.
Like it looks like more thought went into.
I was like, look at the chat, and I just like walked off to my depth.
It looks like more thought went into like how those reflections are designed, whereas with like just screen space reflections, it's like, well, it just reflects what's above it in the render, you know. It feels more intentional. And like, you know, you don't have like all of like the jaggy shadows that appear on like characters' faces in cutscenes. You know, sometimes even today with modern games, like, you know, the hair does not look significantly worse than hair in a lot of modern games still. You know, the shadows are a lot sharper. Of course, you know, to have a truly realistic shadow, it needs some soft edges, but you know, you don't have like these like jaggy edged shadow maps that are just like everywhere in games. You know, it became much more common later and further into that generation. It's just, it's a clean look that really holds up. Back to Super Chats, there was $2. $2 Super Chat from Shadow Mix saying my Super MIDI pack.
This is so tough. I don't know how you're supposed to know where they're coming from.
Did you get that Super MIDI pack thing?
I did, and you know, I got the MIDI keyboard to go with it. And I just haven't done anything with it. Like I have meant to. You know what's really funny is I bought that MIDI keyboard, and then I recently got a Rock Band 3 to play like with my kids. And the Rock Band 3 keyboard has a MIDI input on it. I could have used that.
Huh.
I didn't even
know. You know, I was looking at external, like older external sound cards. Because I have, like, actually on this computer here, I use this like USB sound blaster that has like RCA inputs and stuff. You know, I was sorting out problems we were talking about, like with down mixing surround sound for recording, and it was supposed to come today, but it looks like it's not going to arrive until into the week. I bought like a down mixing box because I was having all sorts of like compatibility issues with surround sound while trying to record. And I was like, well, I think it's probably going to sound a lot better if I don't use the motherboard's line in. And I definitely get cleaner in and out sound using this. I mean, I've had it for years and years and years and years, this external sound blaster.
Yeah.
And I really like it. So I was like looking on eBay to just like see if I could get another one for cheap. and I did order one. But I saw another one that I'm guessing it's probably older than that one, but it had like a MIDI input and a lot of other interesting connections on it. And I was like, kind of tempted by that one just because like, oh, maybe there'd be some interesting functionality. But I before Shadow Mask's super chat, I also noticed Zodiac saying 15 is great until the second half, then it totally falls apart, gameplay wise and in terms of its narratives. It goes from one of the better ones to the bottom quickly. Now, see, that's interesting, and I think that's probably what a lot of people's perspective is. I both understand where you're coming from and sort of disagree. I agree that the back half of 15 is a mess, but I also feel like
it's like the time jump is like the most interesting thing that happens in the game.
I agree completely. That's the most interesting thing in the entire game. Which isn't really a spoiler because the game starts off in like as a flash forward to that part. But like the that I think that's supposed to, like, there are glimmers of like the game I wished I had been playing the whole time during that linear part. My belief is, and I've heard people say that that even when it was Versus 13, it was always intended to be kind of an open world game of sorts. Maybe that's true, but we don't know exactly, because like at the time it was unveiled, like open world games were very different at that time.
Yeah.
So it may have still worked. I feel like that game's story was just incompatible with what became the modern open world game. You know, your father, the king, is killed. You know, your country is taken over by, you know, whoever the heck they are, and you're off on a fun times camping trip with your buddies. I feel like they were so focused because people hated the linearity of Final Fantasy 13 so much that they had to go hard in the other direction.
Yeah.
And, you know, neither of us are huge on open world games. There's some open world games we do like, but we're not huge on open world in general. And
do I only get the password like after the after like I finish?
Well, remember, you're just on practice mode.
No, I'm playing on normal now.
Oh, okay.
I didn't realize that. That's a good
question. I don't know
Wolverine
when
was invincible when he was doing his Dragon Punch or his tornado craw.
But see, you know, I actually appreciate the linear. I do not mind a good linear game. You know, a well-paced linear game, and you know, in fact, I in general prefer that. You know, relatively linear. It doesn't have to be, you know, as much of a hallway thing as Final Fantasy 13, certainly. But you know, I like a relatively, you know, linear game. And I just thought that open world concept just kind of clashed with the just so many elements of the story of Final Fantasy 15, and I felt like they couldn't tell the story, and that's why the second half of the game had to be linear, because it's like, we can't tell this story in an open world format. Like, they should have conceived a different story for an open world game, because I don't think that story could be told open world.
But they felt like they really needed to do it.
Yeah, Beastly Panda says people misremember the old FF games being more expansive than they were. Absolutely. Final Fantasy X is not that different from 13.
No.
Like in terms of like the areas you like run around and fight in.
Right.
Not that different. It's really not.
And like you know, once the overworld was removed, you know, like starting with 10, like it just didn't feel like there was. It started feeling smaller, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I was always, it took me a while to get over. I mean, I love Final Fantasy 12, but Final Fantasy 12 was the first time that it felt like you did not circle the globe.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there was no world map. And like even with 10, I was like kind of unsure. And like 10.2, like does have locations that you never go to in 10, for example. So it's like, oh, well, we didn't go everywhere there is in the world.
Right.
I guess you could say in like the older FF games, maybe there are locations that just aren't on the world map, So maybe you don't literally go everywhere, but you still like, you're in the airship. You like literally circle the globe. You can do that in all the FF games up until 10. But 12, the problem with 12 was there's the whole, like, what is it, Rosaria or something like that, I think it's called, the country that Alcid Margrace is from. Like, you meet characters from this other country that plays a role in the story, and you never go there.
Right.
And that bugged me. Because I felt like, I was like, the game can't be ending now, can it? We never went to Alcid's country. But that's just kind of how it's become. And 15, I guess you kind of, I don't know if there was just those two continents, so you kind of see the world, or that you see the other continent in kind of a whirlwind tour at the end. But like, and I did not like Final Fantasy X's combat or 15's combat at all.
Yeah, like I just really know what was going on half the time.
Well, it's the thing though is like I never felt like I understood it, but it's not like I was like dying a lot either.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like it's not hard, but it doesn't feel fun or good either. And I just never understood why, I mean, all more power to you if you like it, but like I saw a lot of people be like, when it released, it's like, oh, the combat is absolutely sublime. And I'm like, it's okay ish.
Yeah. And like there's definitely part of me that's sad that there's no way we'll ever get another turn-based Final Fantasy game.
That's probably true. I mean, like I often fantasize about like, what if they just gave like the HD 2D guys, like what if they just said like, hey, why don't you just call this game Final Fantasy 17?
Because everyone would be happy about that.
Everyone would be happy about that.
Yeah.
Everyone would be happy about that.
Well, it seems like if they're like afraid how much 15 is going to sell, it almost feels like if 15 doesn't like do the numbers that they wanted it to do, then they should try to like just go all in and pleasing like the old fans.
Yeah. I mean, I think it might be I think they have this idea that the game has to be action oriented to be more mass marketable.
Look at Dragon Quest 11.
And I think it's very possible the opposite could be true. Because there's a lot of people who just don't feel comfortable playing action games, There's a lot of people who started off playing Final Fantasy because they didn't feel good at action games, but they felt like they could handle, an RPG system. And so those people, like, they're not going to be playing these.
Oh, gee, okay. I was going to say, like, he died really quick. Ugh, man.
I
feel like Sentinel should be a lot
There was a $5 super chat from Robert Carlson, your grandfather.
Like my grandfather.
Saying, in my opinion, 13's problem wasn't being too linear. It was that it felt too linear. It's the subtle but critical difference between cozy and claustrophobic. I mean, I can kind of understand what you say there, but at the same time, in some ways, with 13, I find myself like almost spending more time on like my setup, like my paradigm setup and like my character equipment setup and stuff than I maybe do in in other games. So maybe I just like channel my, desire for flexibility into those other areas. And those parts of the games, perhaps for me at least, benefit because I feel more compelled to because oftentimes I'm very sort of very one note with kind of how I set up things in an RPG. Like, I'll try to make a setup that works for like all situations or something.
Yeah.
And like the paradigm system really encourages you to think about like, well, here's something that you won't need all the time, but when it would be useful, it would be great to have this kind of setup, right? So like, and Final Fantasy 12 does the same thing for me too. Of course, Final Fantasy 12 is much less, of a hallway, much less.
Yeah,
not really a hallway at all.
It's actually pretty impressive how
a linear game
12 is.
But it was very much the same kind of thing for me, where I enjoyed spending time thinking about my setup, thinking about it's just making all of those small tweaks. And, as you go through an area, and that's one of the things I like about, even the part of Final Fantasy 13 that's before, like, you regularly have access to all party members, where it's really just two people for such a long portion of the game, which I'm near the end of that part in my replay right now. But like, you're kind of forced into these situations where, I'm using these two characters who have access to these roles. How can I make them work together?
Yeah.
And you kind of make a setup and you're like, man, you know what? I wish I had a paradigm for this.
Yeah.
So then you go into the menu and build that. And you're like, this one's not really working out, or this one's actually not that useful. Maybe I'll replace it with something else. And you're like kind of refining your strategy, like over the course of, that chapter of the game. And I find that element very engaging, and that's where the game has a lot of flexibility. I also noticed Mega X6 saying, I played FF2 for the first time this year, really enjoy it. My least favorite so far is FF3. I assume you're talking about the non-US 2 and 3, not FF4 and FF6. My up until 15, my least favorite was 2, but I still want to replay it. I actually really, I for the record, I played 2 on PS1. I want to replay it on PSP. I feel like I heard that they rebalanced how some of the weird power-up mechanics work. So I'm curious to try that version. I definitely had issues with it, but I didn't hate it. But it was I did consider it my least favorite. The only version of 3 I've played through is the DS version, and I really liked it. It's definitely, it's job system in name only, even though it was the, kind of the originator of the job system. What we came to know it from Final Fantasy 5 and tactics and stuff like that. It is not that really. But I really enjoyed the game overall, even though it has a much less robust job system. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I thought at least the DS version, I thought was a very, very good level of balance, because I felt like in most of the dungeons, because I want to say there's like, unlike later games where you could generally expect a save point, like not far from the boss, I don't think the DS version added save points, so you generally, would have to do the whole dungeon over again. So there was always this tension when I got on a boss fight, like, oh gosh, I really don't want to have to do the dungeon again.
Oh yeah.
But the reality was, and like the bosses were like really intense, like I felt like I was about to die, like almost all the time. But in reality, I rarely actually game overed. So like that kind of tension while still succeeding is like, that is the ideal difficulty level, right?
Exactly.
Like you want to win, you want to feel like you were really challenged, and like that victory is really satisfying, but you didn't actually die. You didn't have to do anything over, but it felt like you were about to have to. And that, I really enjoyed that aspect of Final Fantasy 3. Again, at least the DS version. There was $5 super chat from Mises Walks. Thank you. Saying, try was your favorite Ganbare Goemon game and why? It would be a close contest between the first N64 game, and I'll admit a lot of that is nostalgia. That was my first Goemon game, and it's so goofy and fun and has an incredible soundtrack. And the second game on Super Famicom, that is just an excellent platformer, one of the best Super Nintendo platformers that we never got. And it's just so, even if you can't read it, it's just like so goofy and absurd. I love like the Bunnymen generals. Like it's just so ridiculous and nonsensical. It's great.
Can I just say I appreciate that Michael Jordan is here in the chat giving me advice. Really giving me good advice for this game. I would never imagine that Michael Jordan would be a fan of X-Men Mutant Apocalypse.
Yeah. I see Shinjan saying, I really hate how 12 took away main control of other people in the group from the player. I agree. That was a hard transition for me to make, because I've never liked auto battle modes in RPGs generally. Like in Dragon Quest, I always, some people love that, but in Dragon Quest, I've always taken on manual control. Like, today we just saw, the kind of curious decision to bring Persona 3 Portable to
why
Xbox?
Not just make an amalgamation.
They should make like an ultimate version. Obviously that would be quite a bit more of a development task, but
right.
That's what people want. But the reason I personally played Persona 3 Portable, and I do think it's a good version, but I still think, even though I am very satisfied with my personal choice to have made that the version of Persona 3 I play, if I was to play it again, I would want to play a different version, just to play a different version. But I still felt like I got, the full story experience. But the reason I played it was because I thought it was going to drive me nuts to not be able to control my party members in battle. And Persona 3 Portable is the only version of the game that lets you have direct control over what players other than the main character do. And I've never liked that stuff. Like, a lot of people say like, oh, I go full auto like through like regular encounters in RPGs, and then like only take manual control during boss fights. And I understand why people do that, but like in an RPG with like just the right level of difficulty, like I find the regular encounters can be engaging. Especially if you're like going through a dungeon or something, you're like managing your HP and managing your MP, and trying to sort of strategically get through the dungeon, or having to ultimately make a decision to retreat and try again. I find the regular encounters in a lot of RPGs to be engaging, or when they're not engaging, I don't find it to be a terribly big pain in the butt to enter my own commands. I just generally don't like auto combat. That said, games that are built around the idea of other party members having automatic control, automatic fighting, that actually can work really well. But I think for me, the game needs to be built around it. So, with Final Fantasy 12 and 13, you're much more focused on, it's not about the moment-to-moment battle commands. It's more about your strategy for the battle, designing that strategy, and seeing if that strategy successfully plays out, and then modifying it when it doesn't work right. I find that to be very, very engaging as well. But those battle systems in those games wouldn't work well with like moment to moment command of every party member. It just wouldn't flow well. So in that sense, that works really well for me. And I think Final Fantasy VII Remake had a pretty good compromise with, how it was worth your while to jump between the other characters in your party. They've definitely sort of come up with some compromises and different ideas for how to manage that. But I think it can work. Another example, I played Monster Hunter Stories 2 early this year.
No.
And
go. No.
Oh man. Oh no.
I did. I cannot believe that I did stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And then now these like.
That's not the end of the level?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
But these guys are gonna kill me now.
That was intense. But Monster Hunter Stories 2, like I kind of had like a lot of mixed feelings about it. Overall, I liked it in the end. Overall, I liked Monster Hunter Stories 2, which is the first Monster Hunter game of any kind that I've beaten, weirdly enough. But it has a lot of flaws. The dungeon design is terrible. Some of it is like randomly generated, I think, and some of it is not, but feels randomly generated. And you'll see like a lot of repeating geometry and stuff. Has a lot of problems in that regard. The battle system, though, I found to be a lot more engaging than I expected, though. And so in the battle system, there's the human character. You can directly control your human character, and you can switch out your monster ally. And then there are human characters that will enter and exit the party, just based on story events, right? Sometimes those human party members have a monster ally, and sometimes it's just a human. So you cannot control the other humans. You cannot control the other human's monster, and you can't control your own monster, other than you can, change out your monster. But I thought that even though there's all these elements of the battle that you don't really have control over, but where the battle system worked for me was it's very much about using the monster that you think is more likely to do the moves that will be effective against the enemy that you're fighting. And they do have their own proclivities towards using certain types of attacks. And of course you can also develop your monster in a way to where they have like certain abilities and stuff. I didn't get too deep into that part of the game, but so you change your monster based on the situation, what's going to perform better. They might not always do the move that you wish that they would do, but the game then becomes like kind of a game of guessing, like, okay, like I want to coordinate with my monster. What do I think they're going to do? And it kind of, I felt fed into, this notion of, you're working with an animal, or with a monster that most people in the world don't even think of these as like something that can be trained and tamed. But you and certain other villages, do tame and train monsters, but they're considered very wild and unpredictable all the same. And oh my goodness!
I thought I was gonna do it though.
Oh my goodness! Oh
man. So there's like no password. You get a password once you finish those first 5 levels.
Surely you can get passwords sooner than that. I've still got GameFAQs open. Let me look and see if they've got like what kind of passwords they offer.
I'm getting the hang of this though now. Like it just requires you to like learn.
Yeah, it actually looks like there are not passwords until after
the first 5 levels.
The first 5 levels, yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I get, you want to, like, learn it better. They want you to learn it.
But yeah, I thought that automatic battle system worked well, with that idea of like, working with a wild monster in combat. You didn't know for sure what they would do, but sort of understanding what they would do was kind of part of what they were likely to do. It's kind of part of the gameplay. So yeah, I generally prefer to have control over all characters in an RPG, but if the game is designed around the idea of not directly controlling other party members and letting you instead focus on strategy, I'm okay with that. But the game needs to be designed around it. I don't like just a toggle where it's like direct control or not direct control. Another good, I saw Brandon Smith mention Xenoblade Chronicles Auto Battle works pretty well. Of course, in any game, it's like a real-time thing with other characters. I mean, you're gonna have to, they're gonna have to move around of their own accord. Although, like games like, the Mana series does a good job where you can, freeze the action and execute a spell with any of your party members at any time. But like another good example is, I've raved before about how much I love the battle system in Xenoblade Chronicles X, and a big part of that is because what other party members do, like you can choose to kind of continue your own combo, or you can do a move that will chain well with what they're doing, and there'll be kind of an alert on your hotbar or whatever you want to call it, that's like, oh, this move will chain with this thing that your party member is calling out for. And that keeps party morale high, and that which consequently keeps HP high and keeps damage rolling faster.
The thing is,
so I like the idea that it's like, oh, I have to work with my other party members in this sense. I see Paul Bergkamp saying, "Try what room are you in? It doesn't look familiar." I've decided that for when I'm the co-host on Coury's stream, this is just my office / game collection room. So I'm sitting at where my editing monitors are. I've got my keyboard in my lap and my trackball on my chair to my side. This is a spinny chair, as you can see, but not I don't, as you all know, I don't compute in a traditional fashion at a desk. Although I do have a desk in front of me, but I don't use it really as a desk.
I was sure it's an easier way.
There was a $5 super chat from Robert Carlson again. Thank you. saying, ever tried Digimon World Next Order or the original? Real-time auto combat where you're basically a coach for your monsters. I mean, that sounds like it could be intriguing. I've never played a Digimon game. It's interesting. Like, when I was, young, I mean, I'm really curious, like, what the age threshold was for people who got into Digimon, because I was like, because it's cool to be into Pokemon at any age now. But like when it first came out, like it was very much seen as like a kid's thing. A lot of people didn't understand that it was a game first, and like, the anime and other media was like secondary. And so I was always like, I was very shy about being into Pokemon, around my like high school friends who weren't really gamers for the most part. I mean, they were casual, they would play games, but they weren't heavy into it like I was. But like my other friends, who didn't go to the same school, who were my gaming buddies, like, I had no shyness about that, because we all understood that Pokemon was a video game first, and it was a good game. And I did watch, a bit of the show, but like I think people who, when it was first introduced, people who were not into games saw it, or not heavily into games, like saw it as like just some kids multimedia franchise and thought it was kind of obnoxious looking, right? And I mean, I saw you take a bad tumble like right at the beginning of that, and there you just made it. Yeah, I when I heard you make the relief, was like right at the start, and it was not looking good. So I was shocked to see you make it. But I I was like right on that age threshold, because it came here in what, 98, I think.
Yeah. And
so
I didn't play it. Like I've said that many times. It was not something that I played at all, because I was like in college. I'd rather be playing
14-ish when it came out here. So like people younger than me were definitely going to get into it, and people older than me not as likely. And like Digimon came later, and like at that point, like I was kind of sick of Pokemon, actually. Like I really only played Gen 1 at the time. I didn't get back into it until the DS days. And so like Digimon, I imagine, was largely something that people like just a few years younger than me might have latched onto.
Yeah.
But like it's certainly, like, to me, it's in my mind. I don't mean this as a way to insult it, because I like have so little context for what it is. This is just me being ignorant. But like I've always been like seen it as like a knockoff Pokemon. And it's always impressive to me when I see new Digimon stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is like
still around for sure.
This still exists. This is still like popular. Like, are your kids into it at all?
Digimon was like the GoBots of I guess like
Transformers.
Monster. Yeah, well, yes. Digimon was to Pokemon as GoBots were to Transformers.
Yes. But yeah, I mean, I know that there's some people who are like huge into it. And I respect that. But it just considering my age at the time that it started, I mean, let me look up when. So it started in 97, which was after Pokemon. game momentum with an early video game, Digimon World, released only in Japan in January 1999. So like it started to take off and then come to America like after I was already starting to get a little sick of Pokemon for a while there. So like, you know, it just had no chance to grab me, you know? And like kind of similar with you and Pokemon, like, you know, it was not something that seemed like something that you would get into when it first came out because you were just a little older. You know, now because of your kids, you've made attempts at, you know, getting into Pokemon a little bit. But like, you know, for me, it's like, oh man, it seems so. Digimon just does not seem like something I would take to, you know?
Yeah.
Like at this point in my life. I mean, as it is, like I consider myself like a super casual Pokemon fan.
All right, here we go.
I can't believe that the new Pokemon game is like coming this soon.
Yeah, it's weird that it's so soon.
Like it's really soon, and like they were working. Like I don't see how they have the bandwidth to do everything. I mean, at a glance, I thought it looked quite good. I thought it looked better than Sword and Shield, which I thought was fine. But you know, I'm not. Again, I'm such a casual Pokemon fan that like I just like have no reason to be critical of Sword and Shield, like because the things to be critical about, like only, you know, it's just I don't find it worth my energy. You know, I'm just there to go along for the fun little adventure, and you know that's good enough for me. I think it looks good though. I mean, I'm definitely I want to play through Arceus. I'd like to play Arceus before the new game.
Now let's see if I can beat Beast. And then I finished the other 3 before. When you say charge attack, what's the charge attack? Is there like a charge attack if I hold on the attack button?
I don't know. You know, Beast's hair, like when he's standing still, like it almost looks like speed streaks like coming off the back of his arms. So it looks weird when he's just like standing still. I don't fully understand the reference here, but there was a $5 super chat from you Denton saying Psylocke must be from Thailand because them thighs be thick. I don't really know what thick has to do with Thailand, but
yeah,
she does have a form for sure.
It's that 90s comic book art, I guess.
Oh, Thailand.
Yeah. I get it now.
I get it now.
Those, you know what gets me is those freaking bombs in there, like in the water. I gotta say, I'm kind of amazed that this is as tough as it is. It's a lot tougher than I was expecting.
How many levels have you beaten on the?
I've beaten 4 out of the 5 now.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I mean,
so you only have Beast left to do.
Well,
and it doesn't undo the other levels, does it? When you game over?
Yeah, you start from scratch when you game over.
Oh wow! So you're
have to
like
beat those
starting
first
from
5
scratch
levels
until you get the first password.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just about learning it, you know. And just like knowing how to exploit each level, I guess. I wonder if the passwords keep the number of lives you have left, though. Not that it matters. I mean, you start from the beginning of the level anyways. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Freaking bombs drive me crazy. I wonder if I've beaten this guy before.
I'm being told to ban someone, but I don't see them.
Is there no mods in?
I don't see.
Oh yeah, I've beaten that part of the level.
I'm not super good at the moderation. Do we have any of the? I did a timeout, but I don't know if that's good enough. I don't really.
What
really
is going
practiced at such things. Do we have any of our regular mods in the house if needed in the future?
Yeah, I'll handle it if it comes down to it. I feel like I could go this way, and there's got to be something over there.
Richard Morgan says, I'm asleep at the wheel.
I don't have to go this way, but I think there's something over here that would make it worth it.
It does look like something worth it would be over there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, there was a $5 super chat from Beastly Panda.
Well, thank you.
Saying, try, please consider starring Arceus on stream. I haven't seen it yet. I could consider it. It's not really the kind of game we would normally stream. But, like, I mean, I played, like, the first, like, 30 or 40 minutes of it back when it came out.
An extra life.
Like, cause I had just finished Monster Hunter Stories 2. And I was like, another monster game is too much right now. But I want to see what it looks like, because Monster Hunter Stories 2, boy, let me tell you, that game had the worst frame rate in a game that I had run across in quite a while. Like, I know people were kind of complaining about Pokemon Arceus's
I feel like there's got to be some move that I don't know how to do.
Virtues. And I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to be impressed by this game, I should play it right after finishing Monster Hunter Stories 2. So I did.
Wait, what was it?
Pokemon Arceus. I mean, I didn't start it. I wasn't planning to start it then, but I just like wanted to like see what it looked like. Because I thought like, oh, this is probably going to be like a lot better technically than Monster Hunter Stories 2 was, because that's why I just finished, and like I knew that people were like it was raising a lot of controversy about, you know, performance and graphics and Pokemon Arceus. So I was like, oh, but could it really be that much worse than Monster Hunter Stories 2 was? You know, of course it's not really, not really a totally fair direct comparison or anything, but certainly a lot more stable frame rate, I'll say that. That's definitely. But you know, I mean, I don't know. I'll try to keep that in mind. If it strikes me as something that seems like something that, you know, I feel like starting this, and why not do it on stream? I don't know. Maybe I could. Maybe. We'll see. But since I started the game already, you know, I would restart, of course, because, you know, it was months ago. I just wanted to take a quick look at the game. You know, it might not be too distracting for me to start the game on a stream, or maybe I'll start it and then play, like, you know, start streaming it like an hour or two in or something. Because when I'm streaming RPGs, I have like a really hard time like paying attention to like what the characters are saying and stuff. Even though like I'm not paying as much attention to the chat as Coury is, especially when I stream. But like it's just like that extra bit of stuff going on. Like I don't absorb what they say, so I'm like always like worried that I'm like going to miss something important or something when streaming RPGs. That's why I stream like Final Fantasy 4.
I'm the same way. You know, like this doesn't sound very fun. It's fun.
Yeah, well, like when I streamed Final Fantasy 4, though, like, you know, for the most part, I knew what I was doing. I mean, I kind of forgot where to go a couple of times, but like, I was able to kind of just mash through the dialogue because it's like I've played this game many times before. I don't need to read it. You know? And whoa, there was a 1999 super chat from, you know, make your pick, Chill Rhino or Chillerino.
I do like the Chill Rhino. That sounds like a Mega Man X boss.
I know. I like both interpretations of that, honestly. Chill Rhino or Chillerino. My Mr. Multi-System arrives tomorrow, and I'm so psyched to set it up. And I'll rewatch your video tonight and get ready. Thanks for your incredibly detail-oriented work. Well, thank you. That reminds me, I did I didn't do it as quickly as I intended, but I did I think it was one day last week. I did finally get around to opening back up the Jamix that I built on stream a few weeks ago. I finally got around to opening it again, making sure that the jumpers were in the ideal locations should I want to use component video and analog audio in the future. And also got the USB hub properly installed. I had done wrong before, or no, I don't think I think I didn't understand it at all at first, and so I just left it out. And then I tried to install it and screwed up, and then I got it working though. So I've got all the USB ports on it working now, so it's pretty awesome.
Nice. So pretty
so
happy
now I have like 4 front ports, and it's got what? I think 4 back ports, I think. So I've got 8 ports total. And I don't need one for wireless because I've got it hardwired to Ethernet.
Right.
And I don't have any external storage on it.
So you have it's set up like a real actual console in your setup now.
Yeah. So I've got I've actually got 3 long USB-C cables connected to the back, and they're just like tucked under my entertainment unit, and I can just pull them out whenever I need them. I've got like 2 9-footers and 1 15-footer, I think. And so that's like, you know, for most multiplayer situations that would happen here, like that's all I need. I still actually have not got any console games installed on it yet.
Oh, just arcade games?
Just the arcade
That's
stuff
okay,
so
though.
far. Yeah. I mean, I will get the console stuff on. I just haven't gotten around to it. I'm pretty sure it's got I put a bigger micro SD in it than in my other one. So I can probably put more stuff on it. Well, yeah, I definitely can put more stuff on it than, without needing to use any external storage. But I will eventually get external storage on it because I really want to do like that ripped CD stuff. Like,
oh, you know, I downloaded a bunch of those. I have all those like in there.
Yeah, I want to rip some of my own too. And do you have like is it really easy to like convert to that? Was it CHD?
I already did it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, if I wanted to do some of my own.
Yeah, it's real easy.
What program do you use?
There's only one program called CHD-Man.
Oh, okay. So is it
all it is
like,
is just like it's like a script and a like a batch file.
So it must not be like a widely supported format.
No. I mean, it's just like I don't think it's like used for much else other than this kind of thing.
Is it used outside Mister? Is it used for like any ODEs?
It's used in like MAME a lot. I think it was created by the people who created MAME.
That's interesting though, because I was assuming the CHD was only for like disk-based stuff. Well, I forget that MAME is more than just arcade.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know exactly, like what it does for non-disc based stuff.
Tori Hanzo II says Beast's move is forward attack.
Right. Well, forward attack, and I mean I've been doing that. It's just a kind of a dash. It's not very exciting.
It looks like after the second platform, like upside down moving platform, like you need to be aiming really for the lower platform because it doesn't look like you can make the jump to the third. So you need to get on the lower ones and then
ride it. Probably.
Get back on that top track.
Yeah, I'm just doing this because I can get a life here, an extra life. And if I can do that like every single time I try, then I basically get unlimited attempts.
Chris V says CHD is sort of a repurposed format, originally for HDD images, but people found it was really convenient for optical disc game images.
Oh, okay.
I really don't know much about like file compression because it's always like, how can they make it smaller without losing bits? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure that it has something to do with like, okay, if you've got a cluster of ones or zeros, like it turns into this, and that can just be extracted to always be this number of ones or zeros, but it's fewer ones or zeros in storage.
It's like such
And that's why compressed stuff takes longer to decode or more processing power to run smoothly. And why Super Nintendo games need the SA1 chip sometimes. And Mirkin says, How do you play retro games for such a long time? I always get bored with them so fast and need weeks to beat a simple SNES game. I mean, this is. I don't know what way you're playing them, but like when it's the context of like emulation, it's always the classic thing we always like to see when you have like access to so many. There's like something psychological up there that just makes it really difficult to commit to a single game. But I'll admit, like on my own,
All right, we beat Beast. We beat Beasto.
But like I don't super often, like just on my own time, play retro games. Like it's more of a stream thing for me. Like I play them on the MLiG stream, I play them on the Backloggery stream. But like when I'm just playing games on my whatever game I happen to be working on, in the evenings outside of stream nights, tends to not be particularly retro. And it's not that I necessarily get bored with it on my own, but like I do find that something about the streaming environment gets me in the right mindset to be willing to sort of like really focus on like a short, simple game, maybe a challenging game, but a game that like is easy to understand how to play, but might take a lot of attempts. And something about the stream environment like just kind of makes me feel more compelled to be like, yeah, I gotta keep doing it. Gotta go for it.
Yeah.
So like, and I guess over the years I've kind of conditioned myself to like save retro games for streams, because that's what I prefer streaming, because like modern games like have, sometimes I stream modern games, but they have a lot of mechanics that you need to learn and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or story that you need to pay attention to. And retro games, like it's just so much easier to kind of just like, okay, this is what you do in this game. It's straightforward. Just go through it. And I guess like a lot of times, like one of the reasons I probably don't play a lot of retro games like outside of stream nights is because I'm like, I would look at the game and I'll be like, oh, but this would be good to play on a stream someday,
Yeah.
And so that I just don't play it. Of course, stream nights are only, between Backloggery and MLiG, just 2 nights a week. So, a lot of times it takes a long time to get around to some of those games. And I was like, I want to play this, but I think I should stream it. That'd be a good stream. There was 20 pesos from Lunita Productions saying, "Hi, Try. I like the way you speak." I'm glad some people do. I don't know why any people do. I wouldn't watch me. It's a mystery. It's a mystery to me why people tolerate listening to me, especially on streams when I'm unscripted and I like. I know I do it. People tease me about it. I know I do it. I can't help it. It's just the pace my brain works at, is slower than real time.
All right. Just Gambit now. Gambit's like the easiest one, I think.
Oh, wow. And there was a $20 super chat from EB Chill 2.
Jeez, thank you.
saying, "Hey guys, now a request, but are you going to do an MLiG ad-lib on the PS1, PS2, PSP coming on PS Plus tier program? Have a great week."
That'd be a really good subject for one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I was not considering doing the, upgrading to that tier at all because if they are 60, I mean, they are 60. It's sounding like they're 60 hertz in Japan, which makes sense. The only Japanese language versions would be 60 hertz. Whether they're going to be 60 hertz for English-speaking territories outside of Europe, we don't know. Or whether they're going, they're probably going to be 50 hertz. That's unfortunate. But whether they're going to be the European versions for expanded language options in the US as well, sure hope not. But, as John said in his video, the problems go beyond the 50 hertz thing. I think a lot of people would disagree. I strongly agree with his thoughts based on what I've seen. I think it's so weird because in the scaling modes they have a square pixel setting and a 1:1 setting.
Yeah, and
those should be the same thing. They're not the same thing. They produce different results.
And neither of them are right.
Neither of them are right. And that terminology refers to the same thing. I think someone just looked at the Super NT or something.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay, they have these settings. I guess we should have these settings too. And it makes no, some of those settings, on the Super NT, some of them are a little weird. Some of them I don't really understand what the intent was. And certainly for, another platform like PlayStation, there's no reason to follow that. It just seems like they copied something without understanding what it meant. They're like, oh, these are the sayings that retro gamers like, right? But they didn't implement them correctly. The other thing too is, the high res rendering thing. I think most people would believe, and I assume most of you in the chat would think this too. And I don't mean anything negative by it. Because it's the easy thing to prefer. High res is better, right? Higher resolution is better. You want those PS1 graphics, those N64 graphics, you want them rendered in, HD, 4K, whatever. That's better, right? But especially in the case of PlayStation, as John pointed out in some of his analysis, you've got that, I guess it's an integer-based 3D space where N64 was able to do what do you call it, floating point calculations. I think that's what makes it so that N64 has smooth movement of polygons between points, whereas PS1 vertices have to lock to portions of the grid that have much less fine gradations. You actually see sort of this jumping and jittering, and the actual polygon models look more unstable with that higher resolution because you can see how they're kind of popping and warbling and shaking, much more clearly. So that I am of the opinion, especially when we're dealing with stuff that was 240p 3D. I know a lot of people just can't go back to it, but that resolution oftentimes is the only thing that really makes sense for those games because you've got the 2D elements. It blends better. The you've got this more cohesive image when everything is rendered at 240p resolution. So you've highlighted new issues with the graphics, or uncovered issues that were somewhat masked by the original.
Beating these first 5 levels, like I feel like that feeling of like beating the game. Let's screenshot this here.
Oh, you got a password.
I got a password.
You got a password. Take a photo of that.
I did. Oh, I did.
But when it comes to like PS2 onwards, like I do think higher resolution can flatter those games. Not always. Like, for example, Final Fantasy 13 that I've been playing looks fantastic for the most part with the higher resolution. There's definitely some things like some lower res backgrounds and things that, although it kind of comes across as almost like a depth of field effect. But there are times where the higher resolution doesn't flatter the image as much, but I would say like for 480i and up, it can be a good thing, but it's not always a good thing. But yeah, when it comes to 240p stuff, like I generally just feel like looking at the original resolution is the only way that those graphics make sense a lot of times. Like they really have to be reworked into more of like a remake or a remaster sometimes, I think. So I don't expect to be impressed by the PS1 stuff, but there was also $2 from Phenonymous. Thank you. Saying, hey fellas, any Street Fighter 6 thoughts? Looks promising. Well, you know me, I'm not really fighting game guy. I have no thoughts on Street Fighter particularly. I like Soul Calibur. Soul Calibur is like the only fighting game series that like I get a little interested in. But Street Fighter doesn't really mean anything to me. I respect its place in the gaming pantheon, but it's just not something I play myself.
I mean, I think it looks cool, but I don't know. Like, it looks very similar to 5, and I don't really know how they could like evolve the style. Like, the style looks similar to 5, and I thought that I really like the look of 4. Like, I didn't love the look of 5, although 5, I feel like you see it in person and it looks a lot better than it looks like in videos. I don't know. I mean, like I think it would be cool to do like another like a 2D, like a completely sprite based or just like 2D animation style to like another one. That would have been cool. But I know that that'd just be a lot of work. How do I get to this?
I mean, I think is an Arc System Works game that has like
Guilty Gear,
models.
like that Guilty Gear that uses the Unreal Engine, where it's like 2D and then it like can go 3D. Like that is what I wish they would just do.
Yeah, like it's
incredible.
It's 3D models, but it's like keyframed into like it just snaps to moves. The different poses.
Yeah.
Like the poses that would be for 2D animation.
Yeah.
I have seen it in motion and it does look really good.
I mean, just take what I'm saying about Street Fighter 6 like with a grain of salt, because like it doesn't even like my opinion like on that game doesn't matter, because it's just
because you're like never going to play it
like seriously. Yeah,
you're probably never going to play it with another.
I'm not the person who it's made for.
Like you'll probably get it when it's on sale, and you'll probably play through like the story mode or something. You'll be like,
and the same thing with like 5. Like I will like I wonder if they'll come out with like a complete version of 5 before, kind of just like on disc or something like that. I'd be curious to see if they do that.
I saw that Castlemania Games asked, "Are we going to be at RWE?" Which I assume is Retro World Expo.
Yeah, the plan is.
Yeah, well, you actually just got a hotel room.
Yeah. We're not guests this year. We're just going. These alien eggs.
Yeah. There was also a $5 super chat from Container 7. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying, tried to replace the analog sticks on a PS2 controller with some from Zed Labs last night. Still not fully back together. Cheers. I'm not familiar with those sticks. I really like the tension on the DualShock 2. Like it feels like it's just right. I like the sticks on those. My sticks are all in pretty good shape. I'd say for PS2. Although some games there can be a little bit of drift, at least with some of my controllers in some games. But I would say that's more like
it's the Cube Rude.
The controller itself, or the game itself, is kind of just maybe designed to just not have quite big enough of a dead zone. I had that problem with some controller with, was it Fatal Frame 2? I can't remember. You know what I did just like a couple of days ago?
What's that?
Something that, like, I bought this like a year or longer ago. I bought a replacement PS3 battery. PS3 controller.
Right, yeah.
You know, I don't know how good those are really considered, but I mean, you know, most of my controllers do not last very long. Some don't charge at all. Anymore.
It's not hard to change the battery though. Like
No. But what I decided to do, I thought about, I was going to put in to one of my black DualShock 3s that
you can play any of these levels. So can you play, because this is the same level,
right? So, but I assume that whoever maybe you take into the last of these maybe is the one who you have to play their last level. Like each character has a last level unique to them.
I see.
I'm under the impression you only play one of those.
I see. Okay.
But anyway,
is that the end of the game then? There's no like final level, or is there?
Well, there is a final boss after the final level.
Okay.
I bet you'll never guess who it is.
Apocalypse, right? I think. I'm assuming.
But anyway, I was going to put it into like one of my black DualShock 3s that just, there's one or two of that just don't charge at all anymore. But what I ended up doing was I decided to just like fully open up my blue one, because I've got like maybe two or three black ones and one blue one. And the blue one is the one I've used the most heavily for sure. It's definitely got signs of wear on it. But it was like really gross looking, just in terms of just crusty stuff in the seams and around the buttons. And I actually had stopped using it as my main PS3 controller because the X and Y buttons would get stuck a lot. Like, I think there was just like some crust or something like underneath maybe that just was causing them to just like not fully pop back up a lot of the time. So I hadn't been using it at all. And so I was like, well, I want to see if I can put this controller back together and like for the buttons to work well again, if I like fully clean it. So I took all the parts out. I got soap and hot water, cleaned all the buttons, I was not even sure if it was like a good idea to like wash the sticks with like soap and water, but I tried it and it was fine. now they don't have that greasy stuff that PS3 sticks get anymore. So I really cleaned all the buttons and the D-pad, and it came back together great. It feels like it's handling really well now. I use a toothbrush to really clean out all of those gross seams.
Oh, look, I'm getting password stats for each one now.
Yeah, that's what I was pretty sure you did. So
I don't know if Michael Jordan is still in the chat. Should I? I should probably should not do Psylocke last. Then.
Someone said Psylocke is the hardest way to finish the game.
Okay.
Do you? I don't know if you have to be like. Do you have to use all of the characters for these upcoming stages? I'm not sure. Like, could you use Cyclops again, or whoever you just?
Yeah,
used?
looks like it can. Although Wolverine only has one life, so they carry over their lives from this point.
Oh, interesting. I wonder if the password retains their lives.
You have to figure it out. Right, so should I mean... I don't know.
There was also a $7 super chat from Mega X6. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saying, this looks better than X-Men Arcade's Revenge. We got Arcade's Revenge, and it looked awesome. It was not. This looks more fun. I mean,
Ooh, jeez, he's like eating my head.
A lot of people seem mixed on this game when I was, kind of glancing through the chat before the stream and, after it started early on. I am really proud of Coury for sticking with it as much as he has up to now. I was thinking like he was going to be like, ooh, like I'm going to have to play something else. But you know what? You've stuck with it and you've made really good progress.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you've gotten a lot further than a lot of people got when they like rented this game as a kid. Because a lot of people were like, I think I saw it was Zane's dad. I think said like, oh, this game is hard for all the wrong reasons. Do you think it's hard for the wrong reasons now that you've gotten this far into it, or you kind of feeling like you're coming to grips with it?
I'm getting it more, for sure.
I mean, it seems probably more frustrating than most of Capcom's Super Nintendo games.
I mean, the levels are like now they're going real quick here.
Yeah, they're shorter levels.
Yeah,
wait, was that guy that was all you had to do in that level? That was like just a boss fight, wasn't it?
Now, like, I just wonder if the real hurdle is those first 5 levels.
The first levels.
And then it's like, at that point, it's not... I don't know if I'm screwing myself over here. But we're going to find out. There he is. My favorite thing about Apocalypse is that he has a big A on his belt. and it's enormous.
It is really enormous. His head's tiny.
Mm-hmm.
There was a notification that Scotter140 has been a member for 20 months. Wowzers.
Wow. Dang.
Saying, hang on, I've been a member longer than a month. You know why he has the A on his
belt, right?
Huh?
You know why he has the A on his belt, right?
I know nothing about this character.
It's because his name is Apocalypse. He doesn't want to forget his name. It makes it easier for him to remember his own name.
Okay. I get it now.
So can I just keep on being Gambit? Is that, I mean...
But no, Scotter. It does say you've been a member for 20 months.
It means hope in his native language, or if it was an S, it'd make more sense.
Scotter says, ever played Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon? I checked it out on PS4, and the shimmering bummed me out. Guess what? It doesn't shimmer on Switch. That blew me away. I forget if I discovered that before doing the I forget if I learned that before doing the Switch online controllers episode or not. because when they, I was contributed to the original Bloodstained Kickstarter, so I was entitled to a version of the game. And since I was getting the main Bloodstained game for PS4,
I bet it's gonna be Wolverine.
Well, I'll take my digital code for Bloodstained Curse of the Moon on the PS4 as well. And the shimmering did bum me out. But I got the physical for the Switch. And I was like, what? There's no shimmering. Now, get this. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 on Switch is almost perfect on the shimmer. Except there is one line, like somewhere in like the upper quarter of the screen.
Who's that guy shooting at?
Not shooting at the correctly sized. And so when the screen scrolls up, which is not super often, but when the screen scrolls up, you can see this one line that shimmers. But it's otherwise pretty perfect. But yeah, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if it's perfect, but I think it is the first game on Switch. Yeah, they scale correctly on Switch. But PS4, yep, that was the version I played through first. And you are absolutely right. It does show. Indie Creates is not consistent on that stuff. They're very inconsistent. Man, I played Blaster Master 03 a month or two ago, and I don't recommend it for many reasons. I do recommend Blaster Master 01 and 2. 03 I don't recommend. And it was Shimmer City. Let me tell you what. It was...
Oh, geez.
It was something else. Let me make sure I can super chat. There is one from Buddy Scotch with 5 Canadian. Thank you. Saying to both of you, what is your favorite first game that you beat on a new or new to you console? Ooh, that's an interesting question. Favorite first game that I beat on a new or new to me?
That's not the last boss, is there?
This is not the last boss.
Oh, Wolverine's out now. It says choose another.
Well, you might want to go back to your password at some point. You know?
Yeah.
I
mean, is there 5 levels?
That's a really interesting question. Favorite first game that you beat for a console? So for me, just like thinking of consoles, like let me first start off listing like what is the first game I beat for various consoles. NES was Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, first game I ever beat.
Gosh. That's a loaded question. I don't even know.
Game Boy? I'm not sure. I feel like there's a possibility it could be Super Mario Land 1 or Super Mario Land 2. I'm not sure which one I beat first. There is, however, a regrettably not insignificant possibility that the first Game Boy game I ever beat was Home Alone. It is a possibility. I may have beaten that before I ever beat either of the Super Mario Land games. I don't have that. Like, part of me wants to get that for my collection again. I've never really heard anyone defend Home Alone 1, like any version of it. Home Alone 2 on the Game Boy, Like, is awful. Really, really bad. But Home Alone 1 is like, I did not like it at first.
Oh, so it keeps your lives.
It does. So you want to remember what your good password was then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not hate Home Alone 1 on the Game Boy as a kid, but I kind of feel like it would not be nearly as tolerable to me today. But who knows? I see someone say Kirby's Dream Land 2. You know, there's a even though I didn't have it, it's possible I might have beaten Kirby's Dream Land like a friend's copy before I beat Mario Land 1 or 2. Possible. But I'm not sure. Super Nintendo would be almost certainly Super Mario Land. Possibly Donkey Kong Country, but probably, or not Super Mario World. Possibly Donkey Kong Country, but probably Super Mario. They were I'd be them very close together. Because I didn't get my Super Nintendo until Christmas '94. In 64, of course, would be Mario 64. Ooh, that might be the top spot. PS1 would definitely be Final Fantasy 7.
PS1 was well done.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because you got yours early.
Yeah. Well, I got it when there was a price drop, and then I think it's when it's the first one, like in the red box.
And then let's see.
Oh, come on.
Game Boy Advance would be Castlevania Circle of the Moon.
That's disgusting.
GameCube would be Luigi's Mansion. PS2 would be probably Zone of the Enders, but you know, a friend of mine rented The Bouncer.
Oh, okay.
And I do not remember if we finished it or not. So it was either Zone of the Enders or The Bouncer for PS2. I'm sorry I'm not picking a favorite. I'm just having fun thinking of what would be the first game I beat for all these systems. Let's see. Xbox would be Grabbed by the Ghoulies. Let's see. Wii would be Twilight Princess. PS3 would be Metal Gear Solid 4. Xbox 360. What would be Xbox 360? Because I didn't get that until Xbox One was already out. Huh?
I was gonna say, I think like PS5 would have been probably an Astrobot, but does that really count? If that doesn't count, then it was Miles Morales on there.
I'm torn on whether Astrobot should count, because that's probably everyone's first PS5 beat. Like, I mean, for me, it would be Demon's Souls. I'm gonna look up Xbox 360. What would have been my first beat for that? Let's see. See, on my backlog here, I've got several games marked as beat, but like I beat like the PS3 version of it or the PC version.
How come I was able to jump up there before and I'm not now?
Would it have been Cameo?
Put in the stupid password every time now.
It might have been Cameo. Probably either Cameo or Sonic Generations.
For what?
For Xbox 360. I actually have not beaten very many of the Xbox 360 games I've bought. But again, it's because I got it after the generation was over.
Yeah.
Oh, what about Genesis? I skipped over that because like I didn't get it when it was new.
I think for me it was Rambo 3. Or no, it was Altered Beast. I beat Altered Beast.
I mean, if you count like Wii Virtual Console, it would be Sonic 1 most likely. But if not, then it would be Castlevania Bloodlines. Like if you count like my when I got my real Genesis.
Is this a shortcut?
Then
wow, how about that as a shortcut?
The Wii U would be New Super Mario Brothers U. The PS4 would be you know what PS4 is.
I don't.
Knack.
Oh, yeah.
Come on. What was it for you?
It's probably Strider for me, honestly. Maybe it was Knack.
Xbox One was Ori and the Blind Forest. And Switch was Breath of the Wild. Oh, did Coury just? Oh, Coury.
No, yeah, I have to go over and read.
I thought you rage quit for a second.
No, not.
But man, my favorite of all those first beats, and I'm sure there's platforms I've skipped here, like DS and 3DS. Oh gosh, DS would be Mario 64 DS, I guess, if you count that. 3DS would be Pilot Wings Resort, which I really liked a lot. PSP, that's a tough one. Because, I had a PSP when it first came out, and I did not get many games, and I don't think I beat any of them. And then I sold it, and then I was given another, actually, along with a number of games through a friend on the backloggery. And the first game I beat of those was Ezoth and Felghana.
Oh, wow.
So that might be the first PSP game. And then Vita, first Vita game I beat would have been Uncharted Golden Abyss.
Yeah, that was for me too.
Xbox Series X is probably It Takes Two. Because it's so blurry.
Yeah.
Like the lines of the generation are so blurry on Xbox's side. Like I know It Takes Two is cross-gen, but like that, I feel like that's the first like native Series X app that I played. This is really fun. Thinking about the first game I beat, probably. But I would have to say, I mean, almost certainly Mario 64 would have to be my answer for.
Oh, come on!
For favorite of those first beats.
It's okay. I got an extra life. That's what I want to do. Is I want to get an extra life for Wolverine here. But if I can get those extra lives every time, eventually I'll make it through. Just takes a little strategy, I guess.
There was also a super chat. There were actually a couple. Sorry, one was 9 minutes ago. Or no, that was actually a notification that Gaming Blows has been a member for 21 months in a row. Saying, you guys seen Super Mario Land DX version 2.0? Peruse on Twitter, colorize Mario Land, and it's beyond professional level work. 2.0 dropped in April. No, I haven't seen that one. The new version. We did when we were on the Arcade Pit show on Giant Bomb the other week. One of the games we played was Super Mario Land 2 DX. I don't know if that was a newer version of it or not. We were using a save state that took us to the pumpkin.
Oh, that's right. I mean, did you? I'm sure you talked about it last week during the stream. If we did that, have we?
Yeah. I guess you never had a chance to talk about it on stream at all.
Yeah,
did you? It was fun.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I think hopefully we'll get a chance to do it again.
Yeah, I'd love to. One of the games we played was Super Mario Land 2 Deluxe. I'm not sure if that's like updated over the original one. I was surprised that we were like, oh, we're playing as Luigi. I didn't know they'd added him in there. It was definitely, I'm pretty sure, slipperier than normal Super Mario Land 2 mechanics. But no, I played, or at least tested out, regular Mario Land Deluxe. That's not a good way to define it. Regular Mario Land Deluxe. Super Mario Land 1 Deluxe, like the original, or at least one of the first versions of that patch. It was cool, but I did think definitely took some liberties with the aesthetic for sure. And the thing that I noticed was there was actually like some like judder or screen stuttering, like in parts where there would not be in the vanilla game. So I guess it is a little more intense on the system. I would be very curious if the new version cleans up any of that, any of those frame hitches or slow down or whatever it was doing. I'd be very curious, or what other changes were made with the art. I mean, I am such a vanilla guy when it comes to how I want to play a game. Like, I know it's kind of boring, but I like to play by the rules that the developer laid out, even when those rules and aesthetics may be flawed. Like, I want the original experience generally, right, or something very close to it. Maybe improve it in some small ways, like with higher resolutions on like Xbox backwards compatibility or something. That can be nice. I don't tend to play fan patches so much just because I like to get the original experience, even if it's a game I've played many times before. But then, when I'm actually talked into playing it, I can actually be very impressed. But I guess it takes a lot to talk me into actually trying it, I'm just kind of stubborn like that. But then I'll play it, I'm like, oh, this is actually good. I like that Mario Land 2DX did look really cool. When we played it on Arcade Pit. It also reminds me on Arcade Pit, one of the challenges I did was for Operation C.
Yeah.
And I either forgot or did not know at all that I knew that there was a colorized version of Belmont's Revenge.
Like, what do you mean when you say colorized? Like, is like an
official
thing?
Color version of Belmont's Revenge. That released in Japan, and I think Europe is like part of like a Konami Game Boy collection, like a compilation that's got several other games on like one Game Boy Color cart. And actually, I want to say that John was showing me something a while back. I want to. Someone correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think he showed me a screenshot of Castlevania The Adventure, an official color version as well, which I knew about Belmont's Revenge, but I don't think I knew about that. But I did not know that there's one for Operation C2. That was news to me. I don't think that was a fan version. I think that Operation C that we played was like an official colorized thing. I think, but did not release here.
That's good.
All right, and now I got an extra life too.
Paul Bergkamp is asking, try what was the first Game Gear game you beat?
Was it Shinobi? The GG Shinobi?
Probably the GG Shinobi, or could I have possibly beaten one of those Donald Duck games before that? Probably not.
Super Nintendo is definitely Street Fighter 2 for me. I mean, does that count? That counts.
Sure. I mean, if you beat story mode or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let me look at. Where's my game?
Job well done, X-Men.
Okay, I've only beaten 2 Game Gear games so far, which is sad. Shinobi and the Lucky Dime Caper. It was definitely.
Oh, is this going to be the last level? Oh, well, now Magneto is back. He's alive. So, is Magneto the final boss or Apocalypse the final boss?
There was also, sorry, this was 10 minutes ago from, I just got caught up in all the conversation, from Jim Nardecchia. Sorry for most likely butchering that. $5 super chat. Thank you. Saying, gotta donate because I love this game. It's not easy, but it really rewards learning the mechanics. Yeah, it definitely seems like it. I've been impressed with your progress. Like it's looking like you might be on track to beat this.
Is this the last level? Is Magneto the final boss?
That's what it looked like on the game fact. It looked
because I got full lives here.
Oh, and you've got a password.
And I got a password. Actually, I have more than full lives.
You have an extra one for Gambit. Nice. But yeah, I mean, I was very disheartened by the troubles you were having early in the stream, both for you and for myself, because I bought the Japanese version of this game around the same time you bought the US version of this. I only got the Japanese version because I just learned about this game. I was like, oh, this seems like it might be good. And I was like putting together an order of Japanese stuff I wanted to grab. And the site I was using happened to have a Japanese copy of this.
Like this is weird. It's just like the level was just like a boss fight.
Was that Magneto?
No, it was Omega Red. I don't know why.
That must have not been it. That must have not been it.
No, that's not the end of the game. I got another password here. Maybe each character has a boss. I don't know. Maybe. He's just whipping wet noodles all willy-nilly.
Oh, Omega Red, Juggernaut.
Jugs.
Okay, yeah, you've got like 3 levels to go, I guess. Like there's Juggernaut, then there's a final stage for any of the characters, and then there's Magneto.
I see.
But yeah, I've been impressed with your progress here. It gives me hope for getting through the game. I wonder if the Japanese version is any different on difficulty.
Oh, that'd be.
They might have rentaled it, so to speak. You know. And then there was also $10 super chat from Chris Stewart. Thank you. Saying, thanks for the stream, guys. When will Coury be dropping that USA Up All Night VHS rip? It belongs at a museum.
Oh, Jugs. Took me down. It's okay. I'm just figuring out who works best against them. Not Cyclops.
Remember when that like Juggernaut meme was like the biggest meme?
Yeah.
That was like early
it's
meme.
So big they put it like in one of the movies.
They put it in the third movie.
Yeah.
That was like an early meme. You were saying that game that Limited Run has up now, that American Hero, looks like a USA Up All Night movie.
Yeah.
Wow, looks like you are cheesing him hard.
I know, but I just like the idea that that's how like Juggernaut is you beat him. Is he just like hits him in the head a couple of times with his stick.
Well, you did die, but it looks like you've got this in the bag.
Well, let's not get too ahead of ourselves yet.
I wonder if the character that you choose now is going to automatically go into their final stage from here. This is pretty funny.
And he's got that helmet on too.
I have no idea what any of this means, but Dustin Kramer says, Coury, we're doing something with Rhonda Shear for the Chat Film Fest this year.
Oh, cool.
Just like the deal with her. Is this exciting? I don't know who this is.
Well, yeah, I mean, she was the host up USA Up All Night.
Oh, okay.
Dustin like does some stuff for the Chattanooga Film Festival.
I see. Oh, the Chat Film Fest.
Yeah.
Chattanooga. Yes, this makes sense now. that was a great fight.
Oh, yeah. What?
That was a great fight.
I know. It's hilarious, actually. I'm gonna save that previous password as well. So these last few levels are just like boss fights.
That's what it seems like. Well, but there's going to be like a character final level now, and then Magneto.
Okay. Okay, so Magneto is its own level.
I don't. It just on the table of contents on this fact, it says Omega Red, Juggernaut, and then final stage. It lists final stages for all of them. I'm guessing you only do one of them. I'm not sure. Maybe you have to do them all. I don't know. But since someone in the chat said like Psylocke is the hardest to finish the game with, I'm guessing. I interpreted that as meaning that you only have to finish with one. But then it just says Magneto.
I think there's gonna be one more. So we'll try Beast. We'll try the Altered Beasto.
Altered Beasto.
This feels like
a level.
It feels like a level.
Does that concern you?
Yeah, no.
I mean, none of the levels have seemed like they've been particularly long, just challenging.
No.
Right?
Right. I mean, is this going to be the boss? It's Exodus.
But there have been mid bosses, right? Have there been mid bosses with like a life meter like that?
No, this guy's definitely not a mid boss.
Oh, he seems hard to hit.
But not that hard. Yes, he got me, but it's okay. I'm not too worried. I mean, this seems like a level. Will you look to see if this is it? If Exodus is like the level before, or there's gonna be.
It's like the level boss for Beast.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, just like if there's another.
Oh. Wait, what do you mean?
I'm just curious if there is like, when you say there's a character level, if it's this one. You know what I mean? Like you said, there's like one more level.
Right,
like, I don't
but
know
like
if it's considered this one or not. Or
it looks like you fight Exodus in everyone's stage.
Right.
And he runs away after you get him to 50%.
And then the level continues?
The level continues.
Okay. I've never even heard of this guy.
But I'm unclear. Maybe you do have to do final stages with everyone. I'm really unclear.
I mean, that'd be a lot of levels then.
Well, yeah, but you know, considering Exodus is in all of these, it would make sense that you only do it with one, you know? Because why would you fight him like with every character, right?
Yeah.
That seems weird. It does indicate that Magneto can be a pain or be really easy depending on what mutants you have. The fact writer says Psylocke and Wolverine are great against Magneto, but Gambit, Beast, and Cyclops are a little tougher.
I'm gonna try a different character. Oh, this is a different level.
Yeah, but Exodus is the boss in all of them.
I see. So the levels are like tailored towards.
Correct. But the levels themselves, at least that Beast level, seemed really short.
Yeah.
Cap. On that box. Cap. Oh, we got. I love this username. We've had this one before. $5 super chat from Theater of Pain. Saying, "Hey all, when I was a young, I had to be different than everyone. So my favorite X-Men was Jubilee. Same voice as Claire Redfield. Great stream. I don't know Jubilee. Let me."
You'd know her. She has like the yellow trench coat on.
Jubilee.
Wasn't she like? I think she was like created for like the cartoon or something like that. Maybe she was.
Looks like a punk rocker or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, in a way, yeah.
It's got a yellow coat and pink shades.
Yeah.
Yeah, Claire Redfield's voice compared to a lot of other PS1 era voice actors, she seemed to have a lot more work in other media. Like, I feel like a lot of PS1 voice actors were kind of just like not really commonly in like TV or anything else, and she was definitely in a few things. I mean, she was Claire. Like, she was the most consistent voice actor in Resident Evil for a long time. Like, she was Claire up until, like, I think the first time she was not Claire was the RE2 remake. I think. Whereas, like, Barry, Chris, Leon, like, they've had lots of voice actors. But Claire was consistent. Like, even in, like, the CG animated.
Did we talk about that Netflix Resident Evil show?
Oh,
I mean, I sent you the link to it, but I don't know if we even talked about
that.
About the trailer. It's like, what?
I did not watch
this?
The trailer.
Oh, you didn't watch it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, it looks like the most generic thing I've seen.
I may as well go in blind. Like, it probably looks pretty bad.
Well, it looks like it could be connected to the movies more so than anything else.
Oh, that's weird. Speaking of Netflix, and also speaking of PS1 voice actors, not to spoil anything. I'm not going to spoil anything. But Drum and I past 2 weeks watched Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
And when there's a part later on where there are several characters who speak English.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, I mean, they appear to be Western actors,
right?
Speaking with American accents. Probably American or Canadian actors. But like the acting was like really off for the English speaking characters. Like, I mean, it was just interesting because, like, I mean, that's a challenge, right? Like, the director probably like didn't really know how to like direct an English speaking character or actor to like how to. They probably just didn't have a handle on how to do that compared to the Korean characters, right?
Yeah.
And so it was just interesting. But John was like, "Yeah, they sound very PS1," which I thought was like, "Yeah, that's a good description." It looks like Gambit's power is really good in this fight.
Yeah. Well, that's the end of the level, but I lost a lot of people.
Oof.
I'll save the password. Oh, no. And we got Magneto.
Oh, just straight to it.
Did it say like who he's easy with?
Wow. There was someone in the chat earlier said that Psylocke was the hardest to beat with, but this fact says Psylocke and Wolverine are great against Magneto. Whereas the others fare a little worse. But you can do it your own way, right?
Yeah.
You can do it. Who do you still have?
I don't know. I don't know if I continue right here or not.
Well, I bet if you die, you can use up your mutants until you have none.
You think?
I bet you do. Because the way it's described here, it says which mutants you bring. So I imagine like it depends.
Well, I have
on
everybody.
Huh?
I have everybody, but I think it's going to make me play through the level. But we're going to find out.
I bet.
Yeah, see, I knew it was going to make me play through the level.
Well, what if you chose Gambit again? I feel like if you chose Gambit again, maybe you would have started there.
You think so?
I mean, it's just that the table of contents on that fact list Magneto is like a separate stage. So.
Well, this is obnoxious.
That is a good tactic, actually, when it gets Magneto with a wooden weapon.
Yeah.
You'd think Wolverine would be a disadvantage.
Yeah, and I mean, he always is.
Oh, I see. I just noticed the shot that fires up those columns of light. I was always like, why are you like not getting hurt by those? You're clearly going.
This is like really tough.
Have you not done Wolverine stage before?
Yeah. Jeez, knocked me all the way down here. This guy is really annoying the crap out of me. Can I kill him? Does he stay dead? Yeah, then I gotta fight Exodus again. But, oh, Exodus only has half his health, though.
Oh.
It's too bad I'm gonna die. That's interesting. Alright, well, I got one. I'll try. I'll go to Gambit again, see if I start right at Magneto. Yeah, I do.
Aha. Maybe the implication is the Exodus ran away to another character's stage.
Right. I don't know how to do this, though.
You've got a wooden staff. What more do you need?
Well, I can't even damage him here. Okay. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna.
Can you see a way that like Psylocke or?
Well, I have to get. I have to get to him with Psylocke. We'll try with Psylocke.
Can you like foresee like, oh yeah, he would be easier with these characters?
I don't know.
The health bars the bosses share between characters. Really? So if you get to Magneto with the other characters, he'll like have a smaller health bar? That's really interesting, actually.
It's like
you gotta get rid of that teleporting guy.
I know. Well, I know.
Oh, and then came back.
I know. I got a password. I'm like, I'm not fretting too much here. I think I gotta kill those guys like more efficiently.
Yeah, they seem pretty obnoxious.
Well, this feels like that, like the previous level. It doesn't feel like a new level.
Well, yeah, this was the level that you fought Exodus with and Beast before.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know why you would expect any different.
I thought they were different. Like if I starting at him and he was.
No, I think it's just that you beat Exodus or got him to halfway in another level, so he's like half in this level. Like you beat him here before, but that was on another attempt.
Right.
Like I think you reset. Beast has a bit of a Belmont strut to his walk. I can kind of see it. He needs to have a little more bent arm action.
Well, he's dead now.
He's dead.
Him.
Oh, great, those guys.
So how do I get this?
Yeah, look at that. Can you Mario off the guy if he was still there?
I think that's what I'm gonna have to do. Yes. No. I lost a chance. My whole body's like tensed up.
I think you can do this. Even if you have to go back to your password, I think you've got this. You can totally beat this tonight. If I can do Bucky O'Hare last week, you can do this week. You can do it. You're doing pretty good damage on this thing.
All right.
Nice.
But I think that one icon I could have picked up like brings everybody back.
Oh, really?
But maybe.
So you could try with Gambit again? See, look, Magneto's health is down a bit, so like you should really go for it.
I don't understand. It's.
You have to like dodge that and then like attack him in such a short window.
Yeah.
can you like knock down the barriers before they fire so that you don't have to avoid so much?
I don't know. It's like
it looks like he might not charge all the way to the lower left corner, like when he like flies around.
I mean, it's fine. It's just I gotta be.
Well, that worked.
Yeah, it's just if I could do that without getting hit like every time, I'd be in good shape.
You like jumped at the first one, and then they just like the others flew under you.
Yeah.
But they didn't the other times. Oh, it didn't.
That's disgusting.
Do you want me to read about him on this fact?
Never give up.
Do you want me to read about how to fight him?
Sure.
Okay, let me read up on this a bit. Only has 2 attacks. 3 if you count his basic state. You'll have an energy field around him that you can't harm him through. Fly around either once or twice. Sticking to any of the 4 corners of the screen keeps you safe. If you're on the ground, he'll suck 4 pieces of metal towards him and then toss them at you. If you're not, he may still do that attack, but he may also throw a purple ball of energy at you. This does minimal damage, but it paralyzes you for a second or 2. He isn't smart enough to take advantage of the paralysis, so it's mainly just a move to knock you off the wall. So it sounds like he's more predictable if you're on the ground, at least.
Yeah.
When Magneto throws the metal plates at you, he temporarily loses his shield. This is when you need to strike. What's hard is that the metal plates don't just shoot outwards. He throws them right at you, so you need someone who can deal with the plates and still manage to get a hit in. This is where Wolverine and Psylocke are key.
Don't!
Wolverine is the second easiest to defeat Magneto with, and probably the one you'll use, as Psylocke's stage is a hard one to get through.
Mm-hmm.
The basic strategy is to climb a wall and dodge any of the purple balls he tosses at you. When he does decide to throw the plates, wait until right before he throws them and jump off the wall at him. Use the Flying Berserker attack, and Wolverine should go right through all the plates and hit Magneto on the way down as well. Though occasionally and rarely, you'll miss occasionally, and rarely a lucky hit will get through, but Wolverine is a solid character to beat Magneto with. I was able to defeat Magneto with Psylocke without sustaining any damage. So he really doesn't give strategies for Gambit, Beast, or Cyclops. He suggests that Wolverine is the easiest. It makes sense. He says basically just hang out on the wall and then just like, I guess, do a dive attack at the right time to like go through all the metal plates and through him.
Well, I assume that's right here. The Dragon Punch. The Tornado Craw.
You know, what did he call the move? He said Flying Berserker. Is what he called it. But it sounds like it's some sort of attack that could just go through all of the plates and through him. Let's see if he describes the attacks anywhere in this.
Oh, come on. Am I supposed to be going down?
Yeah, and when he describes the moves, he calls Flying Berserker the one where it says B plus down and Y. So it's down and Y in the air. K-Lead Gamer says long plays of this in 55 minutes and they use
go down. So
saying, yeah, obviously everyone seems to have a very different opinion on who's easy to use. Do you get your health back after finishing the character stage?
Yes. Yeah.
This is interesting looking.
This is like straight out of Strider.
Oh, yeah?
Well, it feels like it, yeah.
It looks like its attacks aren't like all of that likely to hit you as long as you're on one of those platforms.
Yeah.
Oh.
All right. Well, I get a password here. Oh, no, I don't. All right, so what was it? Stay in the corner and then...
Well, no. That I think that was kind of for other characters, but hold on, go ahead and pause. Basically, for Wolverine, the basic strategy is to climb a wall and dodge any of the purple balls he tosses at you. Because remember, if you're not on the ground, he may sometimes throw a purple ball.
Mm-hmm.
Dodge the purple balls. When he does decide to throw the plates, wait until right before he throws them and jump off the wall at him. Use the Flying Berserker attack, and Wolverine should go right through all the plates and hit Magneto on the way down as well. You'll miss occasionally, and rarely a lucky hit will get through, but Wolverine is a solid character to beat Magneto. There was a $20 super chat from Skelvin Knight. Thank you. Says, I've been drinking and playing No Man's Sky. I'm literally lost in space and tipsy. Interstellar ain't got nothing on me. You guys rock. Thank you.
Oh, come on. I do get it, though. Like,
cheer Coury on something?
Come on. I do get it, but it's not going to happen this time.
Do you have another life for Wolverine?
I don't know.
I think you can still do it this time. You can still do it this time. You absolutely can.
It's going to be cool.
Sometimes you hit that platform, but what can you do? Oh yeah, you can get him with when he does the purple ball too.
Yeah.
That's not bad. It almost looks like the purple ball is the easier attack to hit him with.
Yeah.
Or the counter. Not to psych you out, but Zane's dad says, just wanted to let you know, we're all counting on you.
See, I just gotta be patient. Really.
Yes.
Oh, come on. How did he hit me? Come on.
I also caught the quote Zane.
What?
Tried to do my best Leslie Nielsen.
What?
I said, just want to let you know, we're all counting on you. Did you do it? Oh man! Oh man, that it just freezes there. It says mission complete. That's pretty great. Woo!
Dang. I can't believe it. I thought for sure it was like not going to happen as it got real like, down to the wire there. Like something,
I don't
only a
think
matter
you
of time
believed
before
in
something
yourself
stupid
at
happened.
first, but we kind of had to tell you.
Yeah,
we kind of had to tell you had
it. You lost because you ain't the best there is, bub. You ain't the best there is, and that's all. Whew. Job well done, X-Men. The threat of Magneto has been. It's just Professor Xavier slightly peering, and then Wolverine's just like in outer space here, trapped. Dang.
I'm proud of you.
I can't believe
Scott
it.
Davis with a 199 super chat wanted to know, where's your curly mustache?
That's it's not a Marvel vs. Capcom.
Marvel
vs. Capcom 2 reference.
Who says that?
I don't know. I think it was someone who played. I don't remember who it was though.
Oh. It was
because
also...
Magneto was like really over. He was like really powerful in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. A lot of people used him in like Sentinel.
$5 super chat from EV Chill 2 saying, "This is for the win, Coury. How you not swear is beyond me."
I mean, there's been many times where I was thinking about it. You know, it's interesting. There's like no credits. So I looked on Moby Games and there's like everything is, there's no credits at all listed except for a couple of people that are.
No one really knows who at Capcom made this.
That's weird. That's like a weird.
At this point in gaming, yeah, it was weird. It would be weird.
Just to have nothing.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like part of.
Is that a complete?
Contract with
That's
Marvel
a complete because there's no hard mode.
Complete, nice.
I can't remember the last game I completed.
Well, for me, it would have been Bucky O'Hare, except I don't own it.
Now do the Genesis game. Man, the Genesis game is like not great. It's not good.
Chillerino. Chillerino. Thank you.
Dang.
What's the circumstance that makes the Genesis game unbeatable?
You have to like hit reset, I think, at the end of the last level, or close to that, like before you can access the last level or something like that.
You have to hit it for like some clever reason, or is it a glitch?
I think it's like it's built into the game, like that's like you're supposed to. The second,
but you can't do that in some circumstances.
Well, if there's no reset button on the system.
Ah.
That's part of the game. Whew. Dang. I can't believe it. I was not expecting to finish it after I was really hitting that wall there.
Well, the beginning I felt like was your big wall.
What's that?
The beginning was your big wall. You were pretty steady after you went to training mode and then you went back out of training mode.
Yeah.
And from there it was pretty, once you got your first password, it was pretty steady progress. There was a real transformation and character development of Coury Carlson. There was an arc, through this.
Yeah, I can't do it. I can't do it. We believe in you. Keep trying. I mean, if you can beat Bucky O'Hare in a stream, and I can beat this, then like people should feel like they can if they just keep at it, like any old game is never off limits. I like when I was like setting up the stream, these bio screens are up and it just goes do 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 do, and it gets really annoying because I think it does all of them one after another. Wow. It's kind of interesting. What's that?
Is there any music under it?
No.
Is it?
Yeah. It's interesting though because there was a lot of X-Men games. Like there's the 2 on Genesis, and there was this. Then Konami had the arcade license at the same. Is it like all at the same time, basically, right?
Yeah, close enough. I mean, 90s.
I wonder how they worked
Michael
it out.
Jordan was asking, did you play Bucky O'Hare arcade or NES? I played the NES one. I was telling Audie, like, I swear, like, I thought you or someone, I swear I saw someone stream, like, some of the Bucky O'Hare arcade game not that long ago. And I thought, like, you played it on Mister or something, but I guess it's not on Mister.
No. I've never played the arcade game.
Maybe, like, Drum was playing it on an emulator or something?
Maybe.
Like, just a little bit of it? I can't imagine if it wasn't you playing on Mister, then I'm not sure. I know that I saw the arcade Bucky O'Hare game, though. Like, I saw, like, the first 2 or 3 levels of it, like, on a stream or something. Not that long ago, but I just can't think of what the context would be.
So the arcade game was 91? That's crazy. I feel like it would have been later than that. Because Turtles was 89. And just to go from Turtles to 6-player X-Men in 2 years is pretty fast, it seems like. Or 92. So this came out in 95, someone said.
I just noticed that Cyclops, I think it was Cyclops that was 6'3", and Gambit is 6'1". Are like all of them over 6 feet tall? Because like their sprites are probably about the same size.
Yeah, I'm sure it doesn't matter. Like they don't take that into account. I always wonder, like, how much they think about these stats. You know, like, because Street Fighter 2 like lists their blood type and everything like that. Like, how do they decide?
Well,
is it something that they just like say, we're make them this?
That's a Japanese thing, though. Like, those stats are like very important in Japan for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering if I think it's 11:30. That's good finish time, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say that's
good.
And I was sure not to.
Never give up.
That's right.
Yeah.
Delicious.
There's also
Power up.
I don't really. I need to put some other sounds on here though. Let's have that. That's how I thought I'd be finishing up the stream tonight, feeling like this. All right. Well, thank you everybody for the donations tonight, and thank you for sticking through to the end. I hope everyone has a great week.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll see you soon.
Good night.
Good night, everybody. Take care.